said to yourself, man, I would love to implement Profit First, but I honestly have no idea where to start? Hi, my name is Amber Duggar, and I am founder of Profit for Keeps. And in today's Profit for Joy episode, we are going to be talking all about how to get started implementing Profit First. So I first want to say, for those of you who are new to this channel, I'm a huge knitter. I talk about knitting a lot. I love knitting. I've not knit this sweater, by the way, but there is something in knitting that many people say, and that is there are so many different ways that you can knit, but it all creates the same stitch. So before I get into detail here, I just want to give you permission to allow yourself to really sit into what feels right for you. As long as you are implementing components of Profit First, it can be an absolute game changer. For those of you who are not familiar with Profit First, check out my other video that I talk about what Profit First is. It is a game-changing system that really allows you to put profit first in your business and in your life. So this is probably one of the most asked questions that I get is, how do I get started? So for me, this is my personal recommendation, especially if you are a service-based business, an online business, a coaching business, a business that has courses and maybe masterminds, VIP days, that type of thing. You may have found that when you read in the book, I don't have 3 years of financial statements, or maybe you haven't read the book yet and you don't know what I'm talking about. Either way, know that I've got your back. So here's the thing. When you are looking at building a business that's profitable and you have low business expenses, what's really more important is being able to pay yourself consistently and enough to make sure that this is a viable business. Because when we go into business for ourselves, to be honest, if we're really being honest with ourselves, that is the number one thing we're thinking. Am I going to be able to make enough money? Am I going to be able to pay the bills that I need to pay? And so my personal recommendation is to actually reverse engineer Profit First to get yourself a revenue goal that really makes sense to you, because your living expenses are going to be different than the next person. Your business expenses are probably going to be relatively low. And so what you're really looking to aim for is enough money to not only pay yourself, but have enough money to pay the taxes on the money you're paying yourself and still be profitable. So let's say the very first thing that I would recommend is actually going through and listing all of your personal expenses. Now, you may have a number in your head already, but the thing is, we have so many expenses that we don't think about. We may not think about our Kindle Unlimited subscription. We may not think about our annual Costco membership. We may not be thinking about holiday spending. And when that unexpected birthday party comes up and you need to buy a present, or the unexpected friend's wedding that comes up and you're like, oh my gosh, I still can't miss this wedding. These things are what we call true expenses. There's another video that we'll link below that talks about true expenses if you want a little more in-depth view of why true expenses can be the number one reason why most people feel like they can't do a budget. It's because they forget these expenses. So make sure that you're thinking through all of the different expenses that you have, list them out, and that's the amount of money that you want to be paying yourself. You may want to add another 5%, 10% on top of that to give yourself a bit of a buffer so that you can start aging your money. And again, if you're curious about what aging your money is, make sure to check out my video on aging your money, because that is such a game changer in terms of reducing stress and anxiety around money. Okay, so step one, getting your personal expenses together. Step two is going to be looking at all of your business expenses and listing it out. Now, I do not want you to go to your bookkeeping software and pull all the categories and have your bookkeeper pull a report and use those expenses. That is the number one way that expenses can remain hidden. You want to make sure as a business owner and the visionary of your business that you are intentionally using the business funds for things that you're actually using. So one of the best ways to go about this is to actually go through your statement or go through your credit card or go through your bank and actually print it out and list all the things that you see are coming out. Also think about the ones that you may want in the future that you're listing out. And also, business expenses also have true expenses. So you may have travel we're not doing a lot of travel right now, depending on when you're watching this, but there's definitely going to be travel in the future. There's conferences that you want to go to. There may be masterminds you want to participate in. There's all sorts of amazing things you can do with business funds, right? But you want to make sure that it's intentional and that you are getting some type of return, whether it be gained clarity, gained knowledge, or actual return on your investment. So once you have those two figures, you can then download my revenue calculator. A link is below, and that revenue goal is going to give you an actual number that you can compare to the last 6 months of your revenue. If you're just getting started, you're going to be able to have this number and say, okay, this is what I need to aim to hit in my business, total revenue coming in, to be able to pay myself, have enough money for the business expenses I listed out, and still have enough money for taxes and profit. This is, in my opinion, the best way to get started with Profit First. Because the thing is, when you're a service-based business, when you're an online business, when you're a coaching business, we have a lot of freedom and flexibility with our business expenses. What we don't have is usually a really clear goal to be hitting. So we may be getting a goal arbitrarily from a coach or from a course that we've taken, or just from, listening, I want a 6-figure business, or I want to make 10K a month. I really want you to get clear on, for you, what it really means to live a life that you have enough money for the things that you really care about. And that ultimately, I believe, is one of the best ways to start feeling less stress and anxiety around money, which is really the intention of implementing Profit First, right? It's to make sure that you have enough money for taxes, you have enough money to pay yourself, enough money for your business expenses, and of course, still be profitable. So here's some questions that you want to be asking yourself. Do you feel out of breath, uncomfortable, like when you look at your revenue goal and just feel completely shut down? If this is the case, then I want you to just recognize that 1, this is normal. 2, this could be an indication that you are not at a level internally that's going to allow you to receive that amount of money. And you can actually subconsciously and physically close yourself off from reaching that level of money. Doesn't mean you won't ever be able to make that amount of money, but you really want to check in with yourself when you've calculated your goal to see how you react physically and internally. Now, if you find that you're just a little bit uncomfortable when you look at that number, that's a really good sign. That means that you're on the edge of growth. And that means that you can reassess, look at your business model and figure out, okay, how can I hit that goal? How can I make that happen? But it's really important that you recognize where you are in both your mindset and your perception around receiving that amount of money. And also, do you feel like internally you can definitely make that happen? Because it's a complicated balance. And it's one of those things where I truly believe anyone can make any amount of money. But until we decide that there is no plan B, we decide that this is possible, we decide that the universe has our back, we can make this happen, we can subconsciously close ourselves to opportunities, to reaching out, to taking action, etc. So it's a really good thing once you've done the goal to assess how uncomfortable you are. If you're super out of breath uncomfortable, then I suggest that you actually go back, take out a few of the things that you have wanted to cover, recalculate a goal and reassess. See if you feel just a little uncomfortable and start with that. You can always do a step goal where you decide to do a side hustle or a freelance opportunity, and then you can reduce your personal expenses by the amount of money you're making from a side hustle if they're taking out taxes. If it's a freelance opportunity, it's just going to be money towards your overall goal. Okay, so the other thing that I want to just mention is another question you want to ask yourself is, do you need to readjust your expectations? Like I said before, you want to be looking at your revenue goal, and depending on how uncomfortable you feel, perhaps adjust, right? Make sure that there are things there that are truly in alignment with both what you need at the moment, what you're temporarily, open to temporarily taking away, and feeling like there's that balance there. So the next thing I want you to do is create an action plan for yourself. So you have now decided, I want to implement Profit First. Okay, so what's the next step for you? Have you calculated your revenue goal? If not, go do that. If you did the revenue goal, but you didn't really go through all of the true expenses, go back and do that. If you have the revenue goal and you're now looking at comparing that with your current revenue, list out some action steps that you have control over in terms of bringing in new clients or new revenue streams. And honestly, having that revenue goal all over the place is one of the best ways to really allow that to seep in as well. So what I would love to see you do is commit in the comments below what step you are going to take. I would love to support you on this journey. Did you like this video? Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified when future video tips are published. Become cash flow savvy by joining our growing Sweet Life Purposeful Money community by visiting amberduggar.com/community. This is where we help you become a truly profitable and sustainable online business. Until the next video, remember, money is simply a resource, and making peace with money allows you to pursue the things you enjoy with freedom. Much love to you.